Hello everyone, this is Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or just welcome if you're new here. In today's video, we are doing a speed build and we are building on a 20 by 30 lot in Gibby Point, and the lot was called Fletcher's Cottage originally. So this is a tiny house, which was a little bit interesting to make on such a small lot because I had to come up with a way to actually fill up this lot, and that is how I came up with the idea to make this build for a butterfly and moth enthusiast. So I ended up adding these like butterfly and moth habitats and then adding like a shelter for them, and I really love that idea because it added a lot of personality for the home. And also because I have no idea how I would have filled up this lot otherwise, because I was like intent on making this a tiny home. I did not want to make anything big. I just wanted to go back to making tiny homes because my last house was a family home and it was a little bit bigger than I usually like to make, even though big houses are also really fun, but there is just something that I love about tiny homes especially. Also, the last build that I made, it was also built in Gibby Point, and that was actually what gave me the inspiration to make this build, because I really loved the style of that build and I liked using the Adventure Awaits expansion packs items, so I just wanted to make something a little bit inspired by that, or maybe a lot, because this is very similar to that build, but this is just a whole lot smaller. By the way, this house is built using only base game and the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, so it is perfect for someone who is looking for limited pack builds, and I'm really excited about this because I have mentioned probably 1,000 times that I kind of struggle with making limited pack builds, but then once I actually started making them, it's not that hard. Like, I actually sort of enjoy it. But it's just the thought of that always kind of puts me off, and then I end up not making them. But yes, this is a one pack build and I'm really proud of that because it feels so difficult for me sometimes. But I feel like this build turned out especially good with using only base game and one pack. And I feel like that is because the Adventure Awaits actually has a good range of different objects. I feel like the only thing that I actually find it lacking in is the kitchen. So I really struggled with the kitchen of this build, but in the end, I think it works out. I feel like it really suits the build, even though I would have hoped that there was something that would have fitted like the vibe of this build a little bit better. But I made it work with the base game items, and luckily there are some decorational objects for the kitchen from the Adventure Awaits expansion pack, so that helped a little bit. The color scheme for this build is mainly just these neutral wood tones and some white, but then mixed up with little pops of color with yellow and blue, or well, basically just yellow for the exterior, but then for the interior I used both yellow and blue, and I really love the color scheme. Plus it is very easy to do this kind of color scheme with the Adventure Awaits objects because they have such beautiful swatches in these colors, and I couldn't resist using them, okay? And especially the yellow I chose because I wanted to use that yellow swatch for the front door. Yeah, that was basically the reason, but it's kind of nice to choose a color scheme or a style for your build based on a certain object. You could even try making an entire house with you could choose just one tiny little object and then try to build the house kind of around that object. I think it would be a nice idea. One of my favorite things for this build is that little pond that I decided to add right next to the house. I just feel like it looks so cute, and it has been a while since I've made a pond in The Sims 4. I'm not exactly sure why, but I never end up making any ponds, even though, you know, it's a very nice addition to builds. but I feel like maybe I'm a little bit intimidated by them. Like, I get a little too perfectionist when I'm making them. I just feel like I need to make this pond perfect, and then I end up not making them because I'm so afraid that there's gonna be something looking a little off about them. Because, you know, I understand the mechanics of the terrain tools pretty well, but then the actual using of them can be a little clunky, at least for me. It just, I don't know, there's always something a little bit weird going on when I try using them. So yeah, I tend to stick away from, you know, any pond making tools, but you know, I'm gonna try to add a little bit more ponds to my builds because I really love how they look, and it's just a nice, simple addition to builds. Also, when I started building this, I was like promising to myself that I'm gonna add a lot of details for the house, but then while I was making it, I kept on realizing that I was like forgetting about the details like all the time. I was just moving forward too much. I'm just always thinking about the next thing that I'm gonna do, and then I forget about details. Like, I really love extremely detailed builds, but I struggle at actually making them myself. I mean, I think my builds might look detailed to some people, but then to me, I always feel like they're lacking so much. Like, there could be so much more stuff in them. It could be so much more detailed, you know? I love all the details. I have probably said that word so many times in this video, but you know, you gotta love those details. I'm just going for it at this point. But anyway, I do usually go back in and then add those details that I feel like I have forgotten while building. Like with this build, at the end of the video, I will go back and just hop back and forth in the house, just adding those little things that I have forgotten or that I come up with at the end to, you know, add for the build to have it have some more, I don't want to say the word again, details. I have said that way too many times. I'm not gonna say it not even once more in this video because yeah, that was a few times too many of one word. Anyway, now that we are moving forward from that, I realized that I actually haven't mentioned anything about the floor plan of this build. I mean, obviously it's a tiny house, so there isn't much to mention, but the floor plan that I went with is this kind of like semi-open floor plan. So the kitchen isn't closed off from the living room, but I did do this thing that I very often do, that I added this like wall that doesn't actually completely separate those two spaces. It's just kind of like in between them, so they have their own dedicated areas and it is more clear, and then also you don't have such a good view from the living room to the kitchen, because I don't like that. Like, especially in real life, I hate the idea of being able to see all those dirty dishes from the living room if I'm just trying to chill. Like, come on, I don't want that. It might work for some people. I think especially for those people who do not ever or don't usually leave any dirty dishes in the kitchen, and they're like very neat and always clean up all their messes, but I am definitely not one of those people. So there is usually some mess in our kitchen, and I would not want to see that when I am just trying to relax on the couch or something. Anyway, I kind of got off the rails with that explaining, but anyway, the rest of the floor plan is obviously very simple because this is a tiny house, so we don't have any space for anything fancy. So there is no real like hallway where you would get to the bedroom and bathroom. You just go straight from like the kitchen. There's two doors that lead to the bedroom and the bathroom, and I like to do it that way. Usually when I'm making tiny houses, like I don't want the bathroom to be connected to the bedroom because it would take away like the space that I could actually be using for important things in the bedroom, because the bedroom, especially in this build, is very small. There was not a lot of space, and I had to put the bed like next to the wall, which is why the build would be probably better for one sim. You could have two sims living in here, but then one of them would have to scoot over in the bed, and I don't feel like that is very convenient, even though you can do that in the game. But I do enjoy having just one sim living in houses that have the bed against the wall, because it just feels more convenient that way. In conclusion, I feel like this build turned out super well. It looks very cute and exactly how I wanted it to look like, so I'm very pleased with it. But definitely let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this build? Do you have any questions for me or any suggestions for future videos that I might make? But we are starting to get to the end of this video, so I really hope that you have enjoyed this, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also remember to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!